What's up, everybody? Welcome to Films by Al. Thank you guys for liking, sharing, subscribing. This is the first film review for the channel by the Flicks by Al network. Make sure you guys tune in, tap in. Without further ado, last night I had the pleasure of watching Sinners, and when I say this is movie of the year, this is a 10 out of 10. Yes, you heard correctly, 10 out of 10. I do not give those a lot, but when I do, there's reasons why. Original IP, marketing, the storytelling. Let's dive right into the film. We introduced to Smoke and Stack, their twins, portray Michael B. Jordan's character. And, we get to understand the personalities of both Smoke and Stack. Smoke is more of the hardened, more stern, serious brother. Stack is more laid back, sex appeal, cool, he's a sweet talker, right? But both don't play. I tell you, they don't do no bullshit. They don't do no bullshit. And granted, this is a spoiler review. So I saw the movie last night. The movie comes out today. So you make sure you guys go check it out. And like I say, the marketing for this movie has been amazing. Like, I loved it how they did the build up of dropping the trailer late last year, and then give us a little taste this year, and then had to, oh my goodness, and they marketed it up all the way to this point. Great, I loved it, and the cast was amazing. For Michael B. Jordan, Dora Lindo, Haley Steinfeld, Wumi Musaku, Jamie Lawson, Miles Canton, who has an amazing voice. This was his actorial debut, and might I say, him and Aloe Black sound exactly alike. If you listen to their music, they sound identically alike. And I just have to say that the music was the big theme of this movie. And did I say this once again? This is a spoiler review, so if you have not seen the movie, come back, save this, and come watch it. I'm gonna break down the details about why the music is so important, because in a way, it's focused on the twins, but it's also focused on Sammy, who is Preacher Boy in the movie. He's actually related to the twins. They're actually blood cousins, right? And his father's a preacher. That's why he has a nickname, Preacher Boy. And his father's trying to keep him on the straight and narrow, right? That don't fall into all things of the world. And he keep telling him, and he's musically gifted, and he's telling him, hey, you keep doing this, just so you know, evil will come knocking, right? And you see the twins bought a old sawmill, and they got a juke joint. Which is called Club back in those days in rural Mississippi. This is take place in the 1930s, and they're in town. Smoke went to go secure food, signage, and all this stuff, right? And they have a reputation because they work in Chicago, because they left Mississippi, went to Chicago, and they came back. Also, they both fought in war as well too. And you understand each personality, and he had Sammy go with Stack because Stack can be a troll, maybe he's a smooth talker. And then we're introduced to Delroy Lindo's character, Delta Slim, who's a powerful harmonica player, right, known in town. And he's telling him about the juke joint, this and da, how much we'll pay you. And then in that moment, you got to see Sammy's talent. On the way there to the train station, and then we're introduced to Haley Steinfeld's character Mary, who has a history with Stack. They had relations, but also their mom took care of them when their mom passed away. Also, when their dad died, and as you see in the movie, that you learn that Smoke killed their father because he was very abusive. He pretty much almost beat Stack to death, and he had to put him down. And you understand in that moment from that story why Smoke is the way he is, because he's always had to take care of his brother, and you can tell Smoke is the older brother, but he seemed like Smoke has a lot more baggage, a lot more stuff he's burdened with. Like, throughout the whole course of the movie, you see he's like, yo bro, relax, why are you not happy? You just so like tense all the time, right? And you understand that, and you see Stack is more laid back. He's like, listen, stuff can be serious, but I can know how to relax and everything like that. And like I said, we introduced to Mary, and you see that he's trying to avoid her because they had relations, and she was in town because her mother just passed away and everything. And you can see that she still have love for Stack. And might I say, Miss Steinfeld's language in the movie, the vulgarness, like, she said, last time I checked, I remember, yeah, you laying on my chest and you had your tongue in my pussy. Da, da, da. I'm looking like, the Walker-ness. And I was like, wait a minute now. So, she's on the train back to Arkansas, but she pretty much didn't leave. And we fast forward to the juke joint where they have everybody come in. Oh, we got introduced to Jamie Lawson's character, Pearline. She gets attracted to Sammy right away because his voice and all this stuff. And yeah, and we fast forward to the juke joint, right? And you see they setting up, getting all the supplies. And Smoke had to pay a little visit to their father's grave. And then we get introduced to Wumi Musaku's character, Annie, who is the love interest of Smoke. And pretty much you understand him more because the relations and in a way she is the spiritual lady, if you want to call it that. Her character is from Louisiana. And you understand like why in a way because they have relations. Their love for each other. She always makes sure that him and his brothers are always protected. Also, they lost a child together. So again, now more and more you understand like why Smoke is the way he is because when you first meet them, you're gonna be totally engaged with Stack's character off the rip. You're gonna relate more to Stack's character, but you're going to thoroughly like become closer with Smoke's character, right? His mannerisms. And then she getting ready actually come to the juke joint. They had an intimate moment. Yeah. And when I say this cast brought grown and sexy, when they had those intimate scenes in those movies, right, from with Sammy and Pearline to Mary and Stack, and you had Annie and Smoke, they brought the sexiness to the movie. Like they didn't have to show anything. It's just how it's presented, the aura. It was to the T, and it was amazing. And it's like, oh. But you see them fast forward to the juke joint, and then you get introduced to Remick, which is the vampire leader. He's being hunted down by the Indians and Native Americans, and they had during those times, we mostly hear about the Jim Crow era with whites and blacks, but other nationalities was in there. You had Native Americans, you had the Asians, and everything like that, and in a way, they're all living in the same vicinity, right? And you see he's being hunted down by the Indians, and he's begging for help with this one couple and everything like that. And he's like telling him, hey, listen, if you invite this person in your house, he's not what he seems. Indians go away because sun's going down, and then she wants to go look for a husband, and yep, Remick killed him, turned him into a vampire. So now we see everybody enjoying the juke joint. Everything's like cool, nice. You see everybody fellowshipping thing and all that stuff, having fun. And again, people have this money. They're bringing beer from the north, liquor and all this stuff. And of course, everybody wants to have a good time, but also Smoke is about business. He needs to be understanding like this is a business. And Stag is like, listen, it's the first night. People have hard-earned money, but this and that. He's like, listen, it's business. When it comes to money, it's money. We don't do handouts. And the symbolism in that is because in the modern era, and especially within our culture, we see that when we start up a business, right? Everybody starts a business. When everybody supports the sport, they pay. And this is no attack on my people and stuff, but this has been an issue where when we start up a business, right? There's a pros and cons. We tend to try to price each other out, or we try to look for a handout, and there's no median. It's like we always ask for something. But it's like when we go to these other businesses, we don't be like, hey, yeah, let me get this, let me get that. Why is it when it comes to us, we're like, yo, bro, we one of us, let me get a discount. Nah, if you're gonna support full time, right? And that's pretty much and it ties into real life situations. Again, I love it. And then you see fast forward tonight, everybody's having a good time, this and that. And my favorite scene in this movie has to be with Sammy singing. He's getting introduced, right? And he's letting the vocals go. And what Ryan Coogler did, where I said these different elements, was like Andy said in the beginning of the movie, right? Music has a way of speaking to us through our ancestors from the past, present, and into the future. And when I say music was such the emphasis in this movie because it had a huge thing to do with the storytelling of this movie. Sammy's playing, and you're seeing African tribal playing the Congo drums and dancing, everything like that. And then you see another person pop up from like the 60s, 70s or rock and roll, like the Jimi Hendrix, right? And then you see in the 80s with the B-boys, the 90s with the DJs and gangster rap, and then even our modern era with the rap music. And you see how all those elements Brian Coogler blended in that scene. And in that moment you're captured, you're like, oh my goodness, this is why I said music is powerful to the soul, because it does connect us to our ancestors in a way, sense, right? It's to show where the evolution of music from where they originated to what it is now, and you see all that in that one scene. And like I said, this is gonna be like your favorite scene, and I'm going into detail because to many of us, we might be like, okay, what they're doing, but it's like understand and be engaged, and it engages you like, oh wow, this is how powerful music is. That's why I say music is universal, but also it's telling you be mindful when it comes to music, because where there's good, there's always bad. And and he said in the beginning of the movie, and like Sammy's dad said the same exact thing. It's, hey, listen, you keep dancing with the devil, he will come knocking. And you see certain things when it comes to fame, yeah, right? Because Sammy's character is pretty much based off of a actual real life musician who pretty much sold his soul for fame. And that character you see in another movie called Oh Brother Where Art Thou. He talks about it. So Sammy's character is based off of that. Excuse me. Sorry, I had to sneeze. Allergy season, springtime, baby. And as the movie progresses, you see that Remick comes and he's trying to, have a good time, but they're getting a funny feeling about them, everything like that. And they're actually very talented in Hailee Steinfeld and Mary's character, who's portrayed by Hailee Steinfeld. She goes out trying to feel him out. They're talking to her and they're like, "Hey, you're going through a great deal. Like, you're going through pain. I wish I could save your mom. Maybe we could save you too." She was like, "I don't need any saving, trust me." But you see that she sees their eyes and their teeth, and he's like drooling. She was like, has the gun pointed to him, like, "No, we're not doing this. Like, I'm going back inside." And of course, big mistake she does, she turns her back, she gets turned, and then once she's invited in by Cornbread, and then Delta Slim had to watch the door and Cornbread had to go, all hell's gonna break loose. And of course, Smoke is telling Sammy, listen, yo, I don't want this life for you. Like, let's see if you're gonna make music, make church music. I don't catch you in no juke joint, because trust and believe, we've all done stuff and you don't need to be around us. Just trust us on this one, right? Had a little conflict there, and then you saw Mary and Stack get intimate. She's like sweet talking him, all lusty and everything like that. Granted, he doesn't know that she's been changed into a vampire. Granted, they didn't even know vampires exist. And of course, again, with the sweet talk, she was like, "You guys can steal this and that." She said, "But you can't steal this pussy again for one night." I was like, "Well, alrighty then." They went to the back. They got straight to it. Had some issues in the bars. Sammy had to go get Stack. He walks in on Stack and Mary getting it on. And Poppy closed the door. Tells Smoke, like, "I told you to go get him." And where the hell's Cornbread? He opens the door. See his brother's getting, eaten up. And all hell breaks loose. He shoots Mary. Mary survives. And he said he'll shut it down. I'm like, bro, you're saying everyone's their debts. And you can see where it goes from there. Everyone's been turned who left the club. Only ones who haven't been turned, the ones that's in the juke joint still. And you see that Annie discovers that they're vampires because she had a jar of pickled garlic. And when Stack came back alive and he was basically trying to kill people, she threw it on him and she was like, "They're vampires. I've heard tales about them and everything." And they're all trying to figure out, like, okay, what we got to do. And they're saying, if we get turned, and he said, if I get bitten, make sure you kill me before I even turn. And of course, they had to have wooden stakes to the heart, metal, garlic, all that stuff, fire. And boy, oh boy, madness consumed. People was getting turned left and right. Chaos. And then a whole all-out brawl starts. The remaining survivors holding on for dear life, and then you see the moment between Smoke and Stack would have to fight each other. And as stern and hardened as Smoke was, he just having a tough time finding his brother trying to kill him because he's like, yo, it ain't you my brother, but I know it's not really you. Your soul is trapped. And throughout the course of the movie, you see again because Remy just wanted Sammy, and this is why I said that Sammy in a way was like a focal point because of his voice. Remick said, "We just want Sammy." He said, "Your voice is the key of me seeing my family. It's the key of seeing people of the past that no longer exist." Remick's a vampire. He's been alive for a while, but he said Sammy's voice was a key, was a gate to bring those people back. And this is why I said be careful because how powerful music was and emphasizing this movie, you understood like, oh damn, you know, be mindful what you invite into your spirit, your household, because how powerful this is. And of course, you know, Sammy's guitar to defend himself, he's fighting against Remick. His guitar has pure silver on it, and you know, silver affects vampires. And so he smashed it into Remick's head, and when he felt it, the whole entire clan felt it. And then when Smoke comes out to save him, he stabs him, the sun arises and everyone's burning to ash, right? And he's telling him like, listen, get out of here, like, and bury that guitar away. Sammy was hesitant, like, this is Charlie Patton's guitar. He's like, no, it isn't. This is our father. Stack just lied to you. He said, go on. And you see Smoke is pretty much like lost because he lost his brother, he lost his love, and he pretty much had a vendetta because when him and Stack bought the sawmill, he bought it from this white guy who happened to be the Grand Wizard of the clan. And one of the couple that Remick turned into a vampire was he was the nephew of the Grand Wizard, and pretty much they were coming in the morning to kill everybody. And Smoke and Stack warned them, if any of your clan buddies come here, we will kill them where they stand. And best believe, Smoke brought the smoke. Smoke brought the smoke. He took all of them out by himself. Of course, he did get hit eventually, but he didn't care because he was ready. He was ready to give up on everything. He was so heavy with burden. He was ready to be set free and join Eddie and their child that they lost in the afterlife. And when I tell you he lit the Grand Wizard up, boy, he did. And you see the movie just goes where Sammy is driving off, still holding on to the guitar, and just pans out to the movie being over. But you see this post-credit scene where Sammy went on to have a very successful music life. He owned a jazz club, I believe up north. I think he went to Chicago, and you see at the end, right when after he's finished playing, Stack and Mary walks in, and as you seen in the movie, you saw everybody die, but you didn't see them. They had escaped and fled the sunlight, and like Annie said, they all had to die individually. Just because the leader dies, that doesn't mean that everyone would die, but a lot of them died because of the sunlight. They got burned to ash. But Mary and Stack escaped, and they caught up with Sammy. And you're thinking like, oh shit, what's about to happen? But they also had a civil conversation. Stack telling him like, Smoke made a deal with me to stay away from you and keep you alive, not to harm you. And you see they had an intimate moment. He was like, I don't care for the rocker. I just want to feel the soulness in that. And this takes place in 1992 when they catch up with Sammy, and they have an intimate moment, and they reflect on that night before all the chaos ensued. And movie pans out, right? You just loved it, and it just cleared up. It pans out, and you see it cleared up everything that transpired in the movie with nothing, just to And I loved everything about this movie. I want you guys to get a deeper understanding of it. It helps us tap into our ancestry, our cultural history. So make sure you guys show love to Sinners. No matter how many times you see it, it is the originality. You'll love it. I loved it. And thank you guys for watching and tuning in. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, tell a friend of a friend. Peace.